off to a fascinating note with all the year ahead for the country and the year ahead for you. And some people might have noticed that the month ahead for February nearly fell through the cracks with all so much going on in January. But now's the time. There's still plenty of February left, and we'll have a chance to have a look at what's coming up for everyone during this month. Just a couple of comments on some of that year ahead material. I did talk a little bit there about a forthcoming cabinet reshuffle and increasing big challenges to the Minister of Finance that might unfold during the course of this month, as indicated in the year ahead. That is due for February. That time it looked like late in February, and we're going to keep on watching that. And later in the month or early next month, I'll comment on how that relates to the chart. But that certainly looks like the area of South African politics to be watching very closely. A lot of people have asked me about international politics and Donald Trump and everything that he's doing. American politics is not the main focus of my work, but there is a lot going on there that affects the rest of us in the world as we all try and understand what is it, what's happening, what's going on, and who is this person, Donald Trump. So I will also be commenting on that in a couple of weeks' time. Important things happening in Trump's chart that you might be interested in knowing about, and update on some of what I spoke about last year when I was talking about the era that we live in and its similarity to the 1930s. So do stay tuned to that. Remember that you can stay tuned to everything by liking the Facebook page, and that's where you'll get information about what I'm doing on the show and when I'm doing it. I can respond to your questions, either for the show or just if you want to interact with me. That's the place to go. So make sure you're on the Facebook page, because also in next week's show I'll be revealing our first giveaway, and it's only possible if you are on the Facebook page. You're only eligible if you are on the Facebook page, if you've liked it. So make sure you go there and find out about that, and more about that in next week's show when we have another look at our spiritual lives. So definitely stay tuned for that. So what an exciting year it already is, with so much going on. Exciting, a little worrying, but certainly we're going to be seeing a lot of changes in the year ahead for everyone and a little bit about the world. So let's get right to looking at February and see how some of that affects us now, or really maybe just to let us focus a bit on our own personal stuff and our own lives, so we can actually concentrate on what's important, because we worry about global politics, we worry about South African politics. People write all over Facebook about that stuff all the time, and I think we are driving ourselves into a stressed state. The world might be full of a lot of challenging things, but the real stress becomes because we are exposed to it all the time. Constant TV, constant news, constant Facebook and other social media are raising our stress levels. So I do dare you to try a Facebook experiment and go off of it for a week, or of your social media in general, just to notice how your stress and worry comes back down to earth. It's much more important to worry about our own lives, and because that's where we can really do something about it. We can't do much about politics in South Africa and politics in America and politics in the world. But we can do something about taking charge of our jobs and our relationships, our own financial affairs, and our own lives. And being in command of our own lives is really our main task on this planet. So let's focus on what's important, and that is you. First group of signs we're going to be looking at are the cardinal signs: Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. And this month, the cardinal signs are the go for it. You've got to get right ahead with it signs. This is the time to initiate action, get into action, make it happen. Not yet time to be looking for results. All about getting things going is what it is for you. Expect unexpected things to interfere with your plans, and domestic life might get in the way of some of those plans. But as far as possible, try and make it 1 step, 2 step, 3 steps forward before you hit 1 step back. Aries, that go ahead is in your relationship life, and it is time to sort some things out there. There are signs of either a lot of frustration showing, or generally some kind of blockage that's happening in your relationship. Maybe there's something that you're not discussing that you need to be talking about, and it's possible that it's your partner that you're not hearing. So it's really time to actually pause, stop, and listen to what's going on and express yourself in relationship. There could be signs of conflict in any relationship, not only personal relationships, and that's really also caused by frustration. Maybe it's time to look for a different strategy, a different way of getting your message across. You might also find that in many areas of life, it's a great idea to be looking at a different strategy. So rethink, think out the box, and instead of trying to bash down obstacles, this is the time to figure out, how do I work my way around them? And from what you're hearing me say about the relationship side of life, certainly the tip in how to get yourself around them is listen more and take the other into account more. That will be very helpful at work, just like it is in your personal life. And in so doing, be willing to accept that maybe your view is not always the right view in this situation. Cancerians have the opportunity to really charge ahead in their professional lives. The world is ready to hear what you've got to offer. This is the time to be putting your goals forward, to be pursuing those goals, and even if you are not in a position to take charge or anything like that, you will find yourself in an influential position nonetheless, meaning your ideas are being heard and you probably will be able to influence whatever is happening, even if it takes a little bit behind the scenes. But I don't think you're going to be needing behind the scenes. If I wanted to use this old-fashioned word, I'd have to say it's a lucky month for you, Cancerian. So a little bit of effort is going to go a long way. When things look like they haven't been working, they're going to work out just fine for you. There are also going to be some other kinds of surprise reversals, which might not be as much fun or seem as nice, but you'll find that that's the small price to pay for everything else that really is working well. So let go a little bit of what isn't happening, and you'll find that everything else falls well into place. Also, if you've been needing to influence or get your ideas across to people in power, whether it's the boss, whether it's someone who's got some influence in your life, this is the month that you're being heard. So make yourself heard. Librans might be experiencing a little bit more of the frustration that your cousins, the Taurians, are also experiencing. And in your case, Librans, there seems to be a lot of passion and fire in your chart for something right now, and that's really great. And all I want to say is, don't assume that that means everything has to be poured into it right now, because there's a little bit of time that you're going to have to deal with. It might take a couple more months than you think to get these plans into action. For the most part, I'd still use my expression of old-fashioned luck is on your side. So, there's no need to worry that anything is going to go particularly wrong. But for a while, you're going to have to do some of the slog work or some of the work that leads up to those passions being able to be fulfilled. It's great to be passionate about something and know what you really want, but there's a step before that you need to be willing to do. So that's really what's important. Get back to your own steps, see what needs to happen. As a Libran, you might be too focused on your personal life and on keeping other people happy in that personal life. Do the chores, do the homework, and over the next month or two, passion can follow. Even the relationship kind of passion works for that, Librans. For Capricorns, well, Capricorns have been having a little bit of a rough time. And it's slowly showing signs of improvement. There certainly is still some of that frustration and some of that initial difficulty that I spoke about in January. And most Capricorns, I actually heard back from a few of you, really related to what I meant. So I do want to say that that is slowly changing. It does look like you can build this month. So if you focus on the little steps at the moment and not worry about the outcome or the sense of direction. Ambition is a Capricorn quality, and you might be worrying too much about the end destination of this goal and not really concentrating on the work that needs to be done. there are some changes that are happening that are outside of your control that are also going to contribute to some of the success. And since they're outside of your control, you can't be concentrating too much on that. So it's the little step-by-steps that need to happen for you. Things will seem a little bit easier, and when it comes to March, you'll be able to look back and measure some of those good results that you've actually had. So basically, Capricorn, it's all about keep on plodding. The fixed signs, that's Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. This is your month for taking a second place. You're like the assistant this month. So you might be in a helpful role, a little bit of a behind the scenes role, but it's really time to wrap things up and tie things up. So in your own life, concentrate on finishing and be willing to be of service or of assistance to others. That's going to direct a lot of where the benefits lie for you over the course of the next 2 months. For you Taurians, that supporting role is actually going to be quite useful because it does look like there's a lot of benefit in your personal life to be had for that. So you can make this month really work for you by not concentrating on personal goals too much and concentrating more on personal life and in your personal life where shared goals exist. This is an excellent time to be creating goals together, and those are goals for the relationship. Each of you in a relationship has your own goals. This is time to together we're going to do this, together we're going to go there, and it's not too much related to your own personal goals. What you need to do is align your passions. So find things that you like together, or find new things that you can like together. Those of you not in a personal relationship, this is actually going to work also for professional partnerships or other kind of relationships where the gain to be made is by equalizing, sharing, and creating shared progress and shared goals. That's really what it's all about for you. It certainly looks like there's a bit of luck on your side. So things are working well and you will be well heard. The most important thing though is to make sure that your own goals and your own ideas about your relationship, the personal one or this professional one that we might be talking about, don't stand in the way. That's why it's all about negotiation, Taurus. That's how to stand in the shared role. Leos, you're not usually accustomed to being in a shared role. Leos usually take charge of a situation, and you'll always be able to do that. But Leos, the way that you're going to work in the supporting role this particular month is by being in a group. Hopefully that's your group of friends, but the charts are showing that you need to do teamwork this month. It's not time to be focusing too much on how do I get my personal goals going forward. There is a certain amount of challenge to consolidate, as if suggesting, we'll see this next month, there's a whole new cycle beginning for you next month. So for you, the tie up and finish up loose ends and all of those things is actually particularly significant. But more significant is that you're going to have to adjust to working with a group, that you're going to have to adjust to the fact that your own goals are not the ones that are going to be played out. However, what you can do about your own goals is that this is a really good time for you to take another look at and reassess some of your ideals, because you will find at least the opportunity to plant seeds for some of your deeper held goals and ideals, and maybe finally get them into action next month. Scorpios, well, you actually are quite good at working in a supporting role as long as you understand the benefits to yourself. So you need to make sure that you identify them. What you will find in terms of benefits to yourself this month is that these are not benefits from the people that you are helping or supporting. There might be benefits in terms of learning to do something new, or through this process of working with someone else, discovering new resources or avenues for yourself. So instead of getting frustrated that you aren't able to do your own thing and you're caught up in someone else's stuff and having to help with someone else's stuff, rather realize that that focuses me into the present in such a way that I can look at what's available to me, what kinds of resources might be helpful to me in the future. It is a great time to be focusing on things that you love like creative goals rather than the professional goals, because those ones are going to be working for you much more easily. And maybe even some of you need to identify, what is it that I love, and you haven't paid too much attention to that, because the fact is that in professional or working life, this is a month of slogging away. So make sure you use that stuff that I love to get a bit of a break. Aquarians, well, usually one's birthday month is the really go-ahead month, and Aquarians will find that's not that easy to get happening this month. It's like you're ready for it and the energy is there, but it might take a little bit of time or effort to really get things going. You might even have to wait until next month before that's really happening. So don't be alarmed. Like everyone else, things are moving more slowly in your group of fixed signs, and you do need to be in a supportive role, but you will find that things are changing in ways that you haven't anticipated that are really going to open the door for you. The challenge is, in order for that to happen, to make yourself clearly understood. Aquarians are great at ideas and often express their ideas, but you often do in a very idealistic or theoretical manner. And the challenge this month is to pin it down to something that is useful, for something that you can do and that others can respond to as well. Some of the fixed signs are showing signs of working in teams, and you can be drawn into that. Not an easy thing for you to do, but you might just have to. Or in order to get your own goals going ahead, other people need to understand you. So the challenge this month in Aquarians is choose your words carefully, make sure they're understanding you, don't get frustrated when they don't, rather ask yourself, how can I put that a different way? And then you'll succeed. The mutable signs, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces, don't need me to tell you that things are going a little bit more slowly and frustratingly than you might like. It's a month of major frustration, and instead of bashing your head against the wall, getting angry, or taking it out on anyone else, concentrate really on maybe standing still for a while, allowing things to come into focus. We don't always have to rush ahead. The flow of time moves and pauses, moves and pauses. This is a time of pause, mutable signs. So Geminis, you might have all sorts of lofty and fabulous plans going on this month, and which is a great thing, and maybe some of them can even get going, but it really looks like you need to be focusing on where you're coming from rather than where you're going to. I mean, with a bit of luck, some of you are going to get the opportunity to travel, learn new things, go new places, and explore new worlds. All Geminis need lots of stimulation, but the lesson in your chart this month is concentrate on what's needed at home, concentrate on what's needed in your own environment. In fact, if you look carefully, one of the reasons why things are not working out in those areas where you do feel blocked is because there's some homework that's not being done. Literally homework, domestic life, people at home, the house and home itself. Concentrate on those things before you expand yourself into the world, and actually you'll create a foundation for yourself that can last for a while. That's the key word for you to this month, Gemini. Create some foundations, create some anchors, and you'll be able to build on those in the months ahead. And like that, when it comes to the time of your birthday in the middle of the year, you'll shift into a much more successful new phase. So plant those seeds. Virgos, not really that different to what's going on for most of the other mutable signs, and especially the Geminis. But Virgos, it's a slightly different emphasis. It's not so much on you need to concentrate on home rather than extending yourself. It's more like you're wanting to do practical things and get things sorted out and fixed and behind you in some way. And you might be avoiding some of your own stuff. There are personal fears or issues or things that you've been avoiding, and it looks like those are standing in the way. It doesn't mean that you need to go to therapy and fix yourself before you can get anything done. It just means you need to have a look at what you've been sweeping under the carpet. It could just be chores you don't want to do, but the bottom line remains that as long as you're avoiding what needs to be done for yourself, and where your own attitudes or communication is getting in the way, you're not going to make that much progress somewhere else. So concentrate home for you is concentrate on yourself, concentrate on clearing out your own kind of mental closets, and then you'll be able to build some solid foundations elsewhere in your life for things to happen in the months ahead. Sagittarians are having a fantastic month this month. It looks like things are really growing in leaps and bounds, something that you do like, but which can get a little bit out of hand. So it's not news for a Sagittarian to be told this, but really you need to make sure things are not getting out of hand. More than usual, you are spread out all over the place, have too much on your plate, and that's even multiplying. It's multiplying also because opportunities are coming up for you. So the challenge is, it looks like, the world is throwing great things at you, and you want to say, okay, I'll do that and I'll take that on, and it's all fabulous. They are great, but you're going to have to be a little bit more choosy. So that's the important thing. Don't do too much at one time. There are indications that people in influential positions, powerful positions, or something like that are the greatest possible sources of those gains for you. So maybe that's where you need to work on your priorities in some way. But really for you, you do need to work on some kind of consolidation or restriction of your own path in some kind of way, and just kind of take stock in some fashion and reflect before you spread yourself out even thinner, because it could be getting out of hand. Pisceans are also a little bit too thinly spread at the moment, but it does look like there's a lot of support around you. Pisceans, you're so much about helping other people and being compassionate to other people and supportive of other people and all of those kind of things, and you might be neglecting yourself, and you're in quite a vulnerable state at the moment, as you've probably been for a couple of weeks. So strengthen that by actually allowing some of the help and support to come to you, and be a little bit assertive of your own needs. And when someone says, I've got a problem, instead of saying, shame, let me help you, saying, yeah, you know what, I've got a problem too, and tell them about your problem for a change. So shift things around, because it looks like people are really in a position to be helpful and supportive. And by opening yourself up in that way, your chart is showing unexpected positive developments from especially new people, or from seemingly serendipitous chance meetings that turn out to be really in your favor. That might also be independent of being helped or supported, that this is a month where chance meetings can be in your favor. To be truthful, the month before our birthdays, things are not very dramatic. But concentrate on people rather than drama, and you'll find that there are plenty gains for you to be had. Just be a little bit more selfish. You can, of course, also ask personal questions on the Facebook page about what's happening in your life and what that's about to lead to. So for issues that are current and that are unfolding as we speak, or a question about what's been happening, not every question can be dealt with this way, but if not, I will get back to you and help you frame the question better. Best to ask a specific thing about a specific outcome, even though today's question from Wayne isn't like that. Wayne says, I want to ask a question about the chaos that has surrounded me for a number of years. Are things going to improve in my life, or just more of the same? Now, normally I won't answer a question like that because it's too open-ended and vague. A number of years is a long time, and actually a lot of stuff happens in that time. So mostly folks don't really ask questions that are as open as that. But Wayne, yours is a good question simply because I did check out your chart to see if I could see something important that is worth telling you about what's been going on, and there has been something. There are two particularly challenging, let me say two of the particularly challenging cycles in astrology have been walking all over you for quite some time, and that is a good 3 to 4 years that I can see in the chart. And I can see that over those about 3 years, you would have been challenged to face some of your fears or things that you don't really like, and also really just being in a situation where you're absolutely powerless. It's also possible to see that your financial life, perhaps maybe even health, and a certain amounts of social life as well, that's where a lot of the chaos has arrived. And the chaos was about letting things go. And that's really what I wanted to tell you, Wayne, that what's going on in your chart is that in terms of those things that I've been speaking about, and perhaps other stuff, you've had to accept endings, or accept the letting go of things, and accept where you have no power or no control. But not in order to get into a state of powerlessness, but more to learn to define where does your power really lie. What are you actually in control of? Over the last 3 years until 2017, maybe even until late 2016, where you've been powerless, where things have been taken away, where you haven't been recognized, you've been pushed aside, or any of those things. Now is the time to step into your shoes. Wayne, the way to change the pattern properly over the course of this year, it's time to stand your ground, step into your shoes, take it or leave it. This is who I am, and this is what I'm going to do. You're a Capricorn. Get into that solid Capricorn mode. So I can't really answer the question, will your life in general improve? Because, life isn't one thing, and there's all different stuff going on, and you're bound to have more challenges. But I did want to let you know that the way to end the cycle that you're in is to step into the shoes, get rid of everything you don't need, accept where you're not in control, and say to the world, take it or leave it, this is who I am, and this is what's going to happen. Remember, if you are listening and you've got a question, go to the Facebook page, send me the question there as specific as you can. Try and be more specific than Wayne, but we enjoyed that question. Thanks, Wayne. Next week, I'm back with more tips on developing your own spiritual life, news of a great giveaway as well. So remember to like the show on the Facebook page and join me next Friday for more of Rod Suskin's World. See you then.